Difficult. Women. Hey, I don't know how to do this.
Hiya!
Hey, welcome to the Difficult Women podcast. I'm your host, Katie.
And I'm your other host, Marie.
See how awkward that is?
I love it.
Okay, maybe we'll switch it around then.
I'm your other host.
I'm the other one that's here.
I love it. That's right. We are the Difficult Women podcast. Pew, 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 pew.
Pew,
Still
pew.
doing it. Still here.
Ching. Yep.
Rocking it.
How
How are you?
I'm good. You know, it's like I've been working a lot and I'm very tired and I do not want to complain about it because so many people don't have any work. So I'm very happily working, but very exhausted. How are you?
Oh, you're the last person I've seen. And that was almost 10 days ago.
Oh my goodness.
So, I haven't seen any friends.
Wow.
I have no friends. No, just kidding. I mean, I don't know.
Quarantining a little.
Yeah.
Or, you know,
well, I mean, yes, we're supposed to.
Self-isolate, whatever that is.
So I'm just hanging out in my house.
You went camping though, huh?
I did. You guys, first time solo camping. You know, as I was hiking on the Appalachian Trail, I found it.
Yeah,
which was
I saw
very
that.
exciting. Hiking by myself. You know, I have mace in my bag. I have my phone out trying to follow the trail. And it kind of hit me really hard. I wonder what it would feel like to be a man hiking solo right now. Because I was when I first started hiking, I felt terror.
Yeah.
Because I was, you feel very, very alone. And also it's bear season. And the last time I hiked a couple weeks ago, we didn't see it, but there was a bear very close by. And I hear the bears are kind of aggressive this year. I don't know.
Well, there might be just like less people camping and less like food trash for them to have. Sort of like the rats.
The rats
in New York.
in New York.
Yeah. It's like bear version, which is way scarier.
Right.
So,
but it did hit me kind of like, I wonder what it'd feel like if I was a man. Because you just,
No, that's a really interesting question. I think it would feel different.
Yeah, I do. But it went away, and I, as I passed people, and and then I camped on a guy's in his backyard.
Cool.
I found it on Airbnb because all the campsites were booked, and so I went on Airbnb, and for only $20, this guy John let me sleep in his backyard.
Amazing. That sounds classy. Yeah.
Yeah. I just had to get out of my apartment. But it was great. It was fantastic. So I highly recommend bring your mace into the woods.
Yeah.
Go for a hike.
Sounds like a plan. I love
Do
that.
it.
Right. When I have any free time ever again, which may or may not ever happen to me.
Oh, well,
That's
it's nice you have work. That's good.
I know. I cannot complain. And I like my work, so that's good. Well, shall we? First, should we talk about some dildos?
Did you see that thing I posted on Instagram?
Yeah.
Somebody stole this woman's package that had like a state-of-the-art dildo that they only make every couple of years.
It's sad.
It's just sad. That's so sad.
I mean, also first world problems, but
yes,
what a
good point.
tragedy.
Good point.
Well, if you want to get yourself a dildo, we know where you can go. Free stuff is awesome, but free stuff to spice up your bedroom is even better.
Select almost any one item for 50% off, and then Adam and Eve loads on the free stuff.
Enter offer code HORIO at checkout and get 10 tantalizing free gifts.
A sexy item for him, a special gift for her, and a third item you'll both enjoy.
And 6 free spicy movies.
Ooh! Plus, free shipping.
That's HORIO, WHOREO, HORIO at adamandeve.com. So today we've got a special guest on the pod, one of a good friend of the pod and outside of the pod, our friend Ed Larson, who made a movie that we think everyone should go see.
That's right. It's called How America Killed My Mother. And we're so blessed to have him through the internet because he's joining us from Los Angeles. He's a comedian. He's a producer. He's a writer. He's a lover.
And not a fighter.
Whatever that lyric is. Yes. It's really one of our best friends in the comedy world, Ed Larson.
Yeah. Hello, how's
Coming
everybody?
direct from his closet. Looking good in there, buddy.
I love my closet.
It looks great. Good sound.
Yes. I've been in. This is my quarantine podcast setup. I'm in my closet. I can scream into my woman's clothes. I'm there.
It's all you need. It's perfect.
Yeah.
Ed Larson, let's get to it. How do we know you? Because I was reminiscing on the first night that we met.
Yotel.
Yeah.
Baby.
Yeah, no, honestly, I was thinking about that the other day. I was just like, how lucky we were that we were both booked on that show. It was just like, it was the weirdest show. It was a Japanese hotel opening up in Manhattan. And the day before they opened up, they hired a bunch of artists, and each artist got their own hotel room and performed, 5-minute shows on repeat?
Yeah, for hours.
Yeah, for hours. And then Murder Fist, my old sketch group, got booked to do it. And the Reformed Horrors were booked, and lots of cool people, Kurt and Kristen, Reggie Watts. It was cool. It was like a cool gig to get. And we all got paid, and we got to keep the hotel room for the night. And I remember Murder Fist got shut down in the first 20 minutes.
Yeah.
But and then we just started doing secret shows for people, and it ended up being much better because we couldn't get anyone to come in and watch sketch comedy in a hotel room, obviously, because it's a really bad idea. And and finally, so it got to the point where I couldn't get anyone to get in, so we had this autoerotic asphyxiation sketch that we used to do, and so I just started doing that on the bed, and then one of the owners walked by, and he's like, yeah, this room is now shut down.
Oh.
And and so we were shut down. We're like, fine, stay, hang out. We had a bunch of beers, so we just had this giant hotel suite. We're like, fine, fuck it, we'll hang out.
That's amazing.
And then people just kept wanting to see the show, and so we started doing secret shows for people, and it became like a secret hit of the whole thing. It was very fun. I miss it. I miss the good old days.
I know.
I miss hanging out with you guys and doing shows with you all the time.
I know. Us too.
You ladies.
You had to
say
leave us for Los Angeles. The
It's
comedy
nice.
scene of New York that is thriving right now.
Oh my God.
All shows in parks.
I mean, that's more than we got out here. There's random illegal shows out here doing like some comics are doing them in their apartment, even though it's a really horrible idea.
Yeah.
And then and then there's some shows at the Comedy Store that they're projecting onto the back wall, and you can kind of watch in the parking lot.
Oh, God,
it's weird.
So sad.
It's really
We're living in sad time.
Yeah, no. But yeah, it's probably the worst time ever to be a comedian. But
If we got our Zooms on, we're doing what we can.
Yeah, I've been feeling pretty good about it lately. I'm feeling, that's the worst part. I just started, because I did sketch forever. This has got nothing to do with anything, but I did sketch forever. I just started doing stand up, and then I started getting good, and then the fucking bullshit shuts down, and now I got nothing. So hello.
Well, yes.
Hello.
No, well, but you don't got nothing. And that's one of the reasons why we wanted to talk to you today, because you are coming out with a film that you've been working on for a long time.
Yes.
And we wanted to talk about your film today.
Yes, Travis Irvine and I, my director, we took this time to finally edit footage that we've had for a couple years. And we finished our short doc, How America Killed My Mother. It's not so much a dark comedy as it is a light tragedy. And
I have to say, props to you to take this time to work on it. Because it's definitely a hard thing to, how many hours of footage did you guys do?
I mean, we had over 40 hours of stuff, every interview was over an hour long, and, you just pick what works and what you can use. Because, you can basically, if you have 40 hours of footage and your movie's got to be 40 minutes or less to be a short documentary, it's a lot of pressure.
That is a lot.
And a lot of things got taken out of the movie that I really wish weren't taken out of the movie. But, I'd rather have the best movie possible, and I can always talk about those things.
Well, and it's a
on
beautiful
many platforms.
movie, and the timing of it is really perfect. And maybe let's talk a little bit about what it's about, because it really does affect all of us in this country, really, and on one level or another, especially right now in some ways. So Tell us, what is it about?
In 2016, my mom passed away suddenly from diabetes, and I was pissed off. and it sucked. My mom been diabetic my whole life. I was the biggest baby born in Florida.
Wait, can I ask how many
Yeah, how
pounds
many
were
pounds?
you?
14 pounds, 13 and a half ounces,
Oh,
almost
Jesus.
15 pounds. Now I'm not the biggest anymore.
But you're close, because I Googled it before our interview with you because I was curious.
Yeah.
But the world record goes
It's like
to
20 something.
22 pounds.
Isn't that crazy?
22
Yeah,
and
that's too much.
23 inches.
No.
Yeah. You added a baby to me.
Yeah.
Like
That's crazy.
like that's how big
You added
that
a
kid
big
is.
baby to you. Oh my God.
Jesus.
God. All
Wow.
right.
Okay, back to you. One of the largest babies ever born.
Yeah. And so and my parents, and like it was a interesting childhood. I was an only child, obviously, because my mom couldn't have any more kids after me. And because she developed diabetes, type 1 diabetes, it runs in her family. So she was going to get it with or without me. I just put the fast track on that shit. And basically she'd been dealing with that since I was born. I'm almost, she died when I was 35. So that's 35 years of, intense, like the worst kind of diabetes you could have. And it just took its toll on her. And then the lack of money that we had really just put the nail in the coffin. My dad, her and my dad split when I was in college, and he never paid any alimony or anything like that. And so it was just basically me and my mom, and she was like working in nursing homes and I was a cook, so there wasn't much money coming in. And so we ended up moving to New York so I could do comedy. And she has family in New Jersey, so I made her live by her aunt, and I'm like, you'll be an hour away. I'm living by my aunt, her sister, and then so I was like, all right, you'll be an hour away, it'll be fine. I'll come see you when I can see you. And I saw her a lot. I'm sure. I don't know if did you ever meet her? She came to a lot of shows.
No, I mean, I'm not. If we did, I don't know that we were properly introduced.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because we just started getting close, like right when she passed away.
Yeah.
And then over time, she tried to figure out ways to like pay for her life, and it wasn't easy. And so eventually she developed a gambling problem, which was brought on to her from my father. Every vacation I had was all about gambling. I would play blackjack when I was like 5 in my house. My dad, that was like our family hangout time. It was that's just how we did it. My grandfather owned racehorses. I grew up at the track. I was like placing bets at the window at 10 years old. Gambling has always been like, it was a major part of my family's history.
Yeah.
And so it just ended up being like right before we moved from Florida to New York, my mom hit a jackpot, won $15,000. And it was huge.
Yeah.
It was amazing. It like helped me. She gave me $3,000. I had some money in my pocket when I moved to New York. I didn't have to get a job the day I got there. I was able to like acclimate in for a month and stuff like that. And it was beautiful. It was amazing. It was exactly what the fuck we needed. And she was able to get a good place in New Jersey and all that stuff. And then unfortunately, that all of a sudden becomes an answer to your problems,
Right.
So she started thinking she could fix all of her problems with gambling, and developed a disease. And it turned out to be a nightmare because her just cost of life was astronomical. And so when I really broke it down, I realized that all these different places were preying on her because of her desperation. And that being the casinos, that being banks, that meant check cashing stores, that meant just people in general, like insurance companies, the medical supplies. Like it was just like every turn was just someone taking advantage of her because she was, they were bleeding her dry until she died, which is unfortunately what happens to millions of Americans every year. And so it was just, I gotta tell this story. It's fucked up. It's my only revenge that I can get. It's the only, I watch a lot of Westerns. And so, and so it's the only way that I could just expose what the fuck happened. And it's not, and I think a lot of it shows it could be anybody. Because I think a lot of people in this country believe that, white people from Boca Raton are fine. but we're not. We could be just as poor as anyone else, and so it's I want to just wanted everyone to know that maybe if we stopped fucking with each other, we would end up being a better society.
100%. And I think, and the United States is so much built around that, about like, capitalism in itself is all about kind of like taking advantage everywhere you can. But then in addition to that, what's so interesting to me about this story is also how our healthcare system is robbing people blind. So that if her medical costs had never been so outlandish, this whole like kind of series of events maybe would never have been as bad, at least, or taken place at all. I mean, I don't know how you feel about that, but
of course, diabetes wasn't her only problem.
Right.
And the average cost of being a diabetic in America is $16,000 a year.
That's insane.
Oh my God.
My mom was making 32, so she had to
Right.
she had to fill in the rest with rent and everything else. And so an article actually came out yesterday. I'm sorry, I get emotional every time I talk about this.
No, of course.
And so this article came out yesterday, NBC News. Amy Martin wrote it. Tennessee Representative Jason Hodges recently proposed a bill that would cap insulin at $100 a month. You can't pay more than $100 a month for insulin. The average price of insulin tripled from 2002 to 2013, and then doubled again from 2012 to 2016. These are like my mom's poorest years.
Yeah.
Diabetics are spending up to $1,200 a month in insulin. That's just insulin. So diabetic they need needles, they need strips to check their blood sugar, they need tablets, sugar tablets, they need glucose paste and fucking, all kinds of shit.
And I'm sure doctors' appointments and things like that too. So
copays, and God forbid you don't have insurance.
Right.
And so this dude, cool guy, Jason Hodges, wrote the bill. And he's presenting it. This is earlier this year. And then a lobbyist from Eli Lilly Corporation, which I never heard of, but is like one of the major corporations that, make medicine in this country, came up to him. He's like, I talked to your supporters and they approved this amendment to your bill. And he's like, well, I wrote the bill. I didn't approve it. He's like, well, if you want the bill to go through, you got to add this amendment. And the amendment was that insulin would be $100 if you had insurance. But if you were not insured, there was no limit to the cost of the insulin, which is bonkers.
It makes no sense.
Because these are the poorest people in the country.
Right.
Are the ones that don't have health insurance.
Right.
You don't have health insurance because you don't have enough money for health insurance. We could pretend that health insurance is free through the ACA all we want, but my shit's $275 a month.
Right.
And that's just, and I never use it, and like, that's just what I pay for health insurance. And it's, it's like, that's not medicine or anything.
Right.
And so if that's like what it's easy, and that's just me. And so it's near, that's why I didn't have it for so long, is because it was too expensive.
Well, and also they do that thing where if you have a pre-existing condition, your health insurance goes through the roof. So like our system is just so broken. And it's incredible that there's people out there every day walking around for these companies. How they're just so out of touch. They're just so out of touch and clearly just either they don't care or they don't get it, or both.
Yeah. Diabetes is the ultimate pre-existing condition because you can have it for decades.
Right.
I have friends that have had it their entire lives.
I do too.
Listen to this. In 2018, there were 27.9 million Americans without health insurance. That was in 2018 before everyone lost their jobs. So Lord knows where we're at right now. No one's working. No one, none of these companies are staying afloat. And so the unemployment's higher than it's ever been. So we can only imagine what insurance is like now. And they're still trying to charge these crazy prices for insulin. And it's just, frankly, it's not fair.
I think that they know exactly what they're doing.
Of course
it's
they
all
are.
money.
It's greed.
It's all money. And last week we talked about billionaires and how they shouldn't exist. And
yeah, I listened. It was a good episode.
Oh, thank you. Fuck the billionaires. That made some guys kind of mad. They wrote us about it. If I want to be a billionaire, I can be a billionaire if I want. It's like okay.
Great. You could be a billionaire, but then you're going to pay out the ass for it. It's just like, why do you pay less taxes than I do? If I got to pay 19%, you got to pay 19%, because it's not like this less money for me, because my 19% is still 19% of my money.
Right.
Whether it's like, $2,000 and yours is, $100 million, it's still the same amount of money.
Right.
Because that's how much I have.
Right.
So don't fuck with me on this shit. You do what you're supposed to do. You want to be rich. That's the cost of being rich.
Right. And
it's just like, so you want to, I hate that shit. It drives me fucking crazy. It's so greedy. It's so just dismissive of the entire country. It makes me insane. And basically my mom's life came down to $800.
Right.
Like that's what it came down to. Like she had a machine that would read her blood sugar when she slept, or like and if her sugar dropped too low, it would beep and it'd go off, and she had to eat some candy or some shit. Well, a couple months before she passed away, her job changed insurance companies, which was good for everyone but her, because the new insurance company, Medicare, said, "Oh, you have to pay $800 for that machine that you already own." Or you have to give it back to us. And we fought, and eventually we had to give it back, and then she died in her sleep.
I mean, and her blood is on all those people's hands. I mean, that's the thing that blows my mind, is how do these people sleep at night for these decisions that they make? I'm so sorry. The other thing too that was, not to give away parts of your movie because people should see it, but just even the way that the banks dealt with everything too, and how these overdraft
trillions
fees
of dollars a year in overdraft fees.
Yeah.
This is money, billions. I'm sorry, billions of dollars a year in overdraft fees, and this is money that is taken straight from the poorest people in this country.
Right.
And the overdraft fee can occur up to 6 times, like 3 times. But if you know how to manipulate the system, like a lot of casinos do, they could be charged 6 times. And then if you're getting like an overdraft fee is one thing, but bouncing a check is another one. So if you bounce a check, you get a fee from the bank and a fee from the place where you bounce the check.
Right.
And then you get that fee 3 or 6 times. Now, Trump Taj Mahal, which is where my mom used to go gambling a lot, unfortunately, they would knowingly take bad checks from her because she had a problem. I'm the first to admit it. She was a gambling addict, and she had a problem, and she gave them multiple bad checks. And it's not like they don't know, because they don't want the check to be good, because they make more money if it's bad.
Right.
And so like, it's, if it's if you can't afford it and you can keep charging interest and you can keep giving them these fees from bouncing it, then they make more money. They like it. And so it was a vicious cycle that just ended up just ruining my mom's life. And I mean, frankly, mine, because I was footing the bill half the time, because I was taking the money I just made, doing comedy professionally for the first time ever. And, then my mom was all of a sudden 10,000 in the hole at these casinos. And I just gave away all my money and to fix the problem, and so it's just it fucked both of us. And it was a vicious cycle that kept going on and on. And a lot of people were like, well, it was her decision. It was her everything. But I don't think they understand, it's the same as alcoholism.
Yeah.
It's the same as being a drug addict. You're addicted and you can't help it, and she didn't have those other 2 problems. She had, this problem. And there has been a link. None of this is confirmed because no one does studies on this shit, because no one's allowed to, because there's so much money in the gambling industry, and that, people don't want to expose this stuff. But there are studies linking brain damage to compulsive gambling. And I talked to some of these people, and I wasn't able to, it didn't fit into the movie. So that's why I like talking about it on podcasts.
Yeah, please.
But my mom developed, every time your blood sugar drops as a diabetic, it damages your brain every single time. And so this was happening to my mom 5 times a week for 30 years, and so she had brain damage. She didn't know where Europe was, shit was fucked up. She was being taken advantage of. And so, and the other people who have gambling problems are survivors of horrible car accidents, and stuff like that. And so it's clear that they are taking advantage of disadvantaged people. And also, that you make bad decisions when you are drunk and they offer free alcohol and stuff like that.
Right.
And so
they're trying to fuck you up. Yeah.
Yeah. No, everything about a casino is crazy. So I went to the casino, I put on a hidden camera, and I wanted to like clear up my mom's name and get information about an incident report, because after she lost $1,000, she passed out and was rushed to the hospital. No one told me. I didn't find out till after she died. And so I asked for the incident report. Nobody would give it to me. And then I was just like, all right, well, I want to pay my mom's debt. So I went to the window where she got the money, and they were like, no, you can't pay that here. You got to mail it to Vegas. And like, so they wouldn't take the money. They wouldn't let me pay back the money at the casino. The only way I could do any kind of thing, I could go eat food, I could spend money on that, or I could put my cash on the table and gamble more. That was the only way they would take any kind of money from you. And then directly outside the casino, are 5 cash for gold stores. It's just the most manipulating system that makes me insane. So I've given up gambling completely. Not that I was a big gambler or ever lost a lot of money, because I saw what it did to both of my parents. And so I've I don't even play fantasy football anymore. I don't do football pools. I take it that far. It's just like, I'm done with it. If friends invite me over from poker, I'm just like, I'll see you next week.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just too much.
It's interesting that you say, I didn't know about the brain damage thing. It definitely makes sense. But even, I was going to say prior to that like even the little gambling that I've done, which is very minimal, and I've sort of been lucky enough to be able to go like, oh, I got to stop spending that money, because you can feel how addictive it is. It's even just as a new person walking right into it. So like, even
it's so
without
exciting.
that, even without the brain damage thing, it's still not your fault. You know what I mean? It's still like, if it gets kind of out of control, it is designed to get out of control.
Yeah, and then the whole system, once you start fixing yourself, you're put in the laps of a bunch of other sharks.
Right.
I'm like, I told my mom, I'm like, we're done if you don't start going to Gambling Anonymous. I'm like, I'm not, this is costing me too much money. I can't handle it anymore. You're going to get help. So she goes to Gamblers Anonymous, and it's a bunch of old fucking gangsters who gambled away their money, trying to like rob her.
Right.
It's it's just like, hey, how much money you got? That's a nice necklace.
God,
that's
so
like that's where she goes for protection.
Right.
And so it's like the whole thing is fucked up, every part of it. And so she didn't have a chance. And it drove me insane. And so I made the movie. And it's just like, everywhere I looked, there was someone else fucking us over. Right. And not all of it made into the movie. For example, her life insurance, the last week of her life, she was out of her mind. She went to the hospital twice. She wasn't making any rational decisions. She called up her life insurance company. She's like, I want to lower my payments. 4 days before she dies, they cut her life insurance in half. She signs a paper. I don't know anything about it. No one in the family knows anything about it. But she signed this paper 4 days before she died, like in and out of the hospital. And I lost $60,000. And no one gave a fuck.
And also just to cover her expenses after she passes away too. I mean,
and we're talking $20 a month was like how much less her bill was going to be.
Right.
And then like that $120 cost me $60,000.
Right.
And so that's, no one gives a fuck,
But what you got with the life insurance money that you did get, you made the movie with.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I ended up with $30,000, and I spent 12 making the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and then, we'll see. Hopefully people get to see it. It's hard because it's not fun. Nobody my title isn't exactly like, ooh, I want to see that. So it's, hopefully it can get in some places. We submitted it to a bunch of festivals. And
we got a chance to see it, and it's so lovely in the sense that you've put it together with so much care and thought, and it's so beautifully put together. And it made me laugh, it made me cry, one of those things. And I do urge people to see it when it comes out, and if they can see it through a festival or whoever, when they do get an opportunity.
I'm going to release it sometime in October, no matter what. Yeah, because I want it to come out before the election.
Yeah, yes. I think that's a great idea.
To see it before the election.
That was a question I had for you then too. It's like, after you've seen all these things and all these components, on the one hand, it's so overwhelming that there's so many moving parts that are so just trying to oppress everybody, that, all the poor people in America. What are some like concrete steps that you would like to like to see being taken, if anything, or if what you think can happen in a realistic way, step by step, or even one
Stop
step?
taking checks at casinos.
Okay.
Number one, just don't take checks at casinos.
Mm-hmm.
Don't allow anyone to take money from a casino that they don't have.
Yeah.
Period. It's a nice, easy thing that I think everyone can agree on, that you shouldn't be allowed to get loans from casinos to go gamble during an act of desperation.
Yeah.
I think that's very easy.
And reasonable.
Yeah, exactly. It's not like...
Yeah, it seems like... Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's insane.
You write on a piece of paper that is worth nothing, and the people know it's worth nothing, but then they cash it. Oop, it doesn't work. And then they charge you 6 times.
That you don't even... Money they know
Can't-
you don't have, which is also crazy.
Right.
Well, Taj Mahal, they're closed down, by the way. They don't exist anymore.
Yay. Man, Atlantic City. God damn that place.
Well, it doesn't matter because the guy who closed it down got a fucking promotion and now he's in the cabinet. So,
Right.
like,
Oh, my
right,
God. Of course.
right.
It's all those
yeah.
mafia. Yeah. Uh-huh. Mhm.
Yeah. So it
I'm
doesn't
speculating, but...
Carl Icahn is his name. And he was running the casino after Trump stopped running the casino and he just had his name on it. And he was getting like 10% of the money or whatever. And they did the checks to Trump Taj Mahal. They were able to submit them 6 times instead of 3 times. You're only supposed to be charged for a bounce check 3 times. But you submit it as a paper check 3 times, and then you can also submit it as an electronic check 3 times, because there was like a loophole in the system, and so they would do it 6 times, and then my mom would get charged $35 from the bank each time, and then another $25 from Trump Taj Mahal each time, and then plus the cost of the check, and
Right.
then whatchamacallit, interest.
Oh, interest. Oh, right. Of course. Yeah.
And so it was, it
God,
was
that's
fucking
terrible.
And it ended up being twice the amount of money every time.
And they all know. That's
I mean, of course.
That's so gross. Okay.
Yeah,
Number
they all
1,
know.
checks. Great.
And then
That's
the next
common
one,
sense.
yeah.
But, mhm.
Overdraft fees, I think, are the most
Yeah.
insane, predatory thing that giant corporations do to us. That basically these are the people who cause the financial collapse, and they're stealing billions of dollars from the poorest people in this country every year. No question about it. That's what's happening. I don't know about you. I've been broke and accidentally spent $50 McDonald's.
Oh, yeah.
When it should have been like 2 cheeseburgers, and
Right.
that shit's not fair.
Right.
This shit, it's just not easy being poor, because you can't even, like, the things you're getting for the money you're getting ripped off on is a poor product because that's the only thing you can afford.
Well, and it's that same issue of like the people that get the people that get charged for overdraft fees are people that don't have money. So they're trying to collect and charge you on money that you already do not have. So it's sort of this insane premise. And yet I guess they prey on those people because those people, when we're getting charged overdraft fees and stuff, they prey on you because no one's there to protect you. They know no one's going to do anything about it to stop it.
It's mafia tactics.
It is, yeah.
It is straight up like loan shark tactics. And then check cashing stores just shouldn't exist. Just
Should
straight
not
up,
exist.
just straight up like awful behavior. They charge you money to get your money all the time.
And the people that I know that have used check cashing stores, they use them because they can't open a bank account.
Yeah,
So-
or your bank is overdrawn.
Right.
So I used to use check cashing stores all the time when I was poor.
Yeah.
Because my bank would be negative $300.
Right.
And so if I take my $400 check and I put it in the bank, now my check is $100. And so I'm like, well, I need those $400 because I got to pay my rent and I got to pay my electric bill. And that's more than $100. And so I'm going to go to the check cashing store and they're going to take $30. And so but then I'll get the cash and then I could buy. And then with that money, I could go back to the check cashing store and buy like a cashier's check for another $8. And then I can use that check to pay my bills. And so it's just like, this is how,
I mean, for sure.
a lot of people live their lives.
Yeah.
And it's not uncommon. I mean, if it was uncommon, then you wouldn't see the fucking stores everywhere. And in every community that is broken down, the more of these stores you see. You see less clothing stores, you see less, Best Buys and less restaurants and more check cashing stores and cash for gold. And basically that just promotes crime. Because if you're doing cash for gold, well, I'm going to go steal some gold, and get some cash. It's just another way for the fucking rich people in this country to tear apart the poor. And it's been going on for, centuries, as long as this country's ever existed. All we do is fuck with the poor.
Right.
And, and then convince the poor that they're, that to hate the other group of the poor. They, like the greatest trick the rich ever played was tricking the poor to hate each other and be racist against each other, and then fucking, thinking that they gave a fuck more about the white people than they did about the black people. They don't care about anybody,
Yeah.
and so only thing that helps them is that they make one group feel superior to another group because they don't even realize that they're fucking over someone else twice. And so, and it's just while they're getting fucked.
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't, we got no love from the government at all.
Right.
There was nothing good came out. Like my mom was denied food stamps, she wasn't, her doctor would say, you're not healthy enough to work. You're too sick to work. And then the government say, well, why is she too sick to work? And then he explained like, that's not sick enough. And so she'd have to go to her work. And my mom was making $32,000 a year doing activities at a fucking nursing home. And we all know that activities at a nursing home isn't just playing games. It's also fucking, when it's too busy, you're wiping asses and you're picking people up off the floor. And my mom's was a brittle little woman. She was 65 years old. She's like picking up a 250-pound man from the floor. That's not in her job description.
Right.
That's not in her $10.20 an hour that she was making, and so, that's $32,000 a year. And then she had to work overtime constantly. And it was just, it wore her down. And then she wasn't strong enough to keep going.
Yeah.
And it's not, and that just happens over and over and over everywhere across this country. And there's nothing we can do. I mean, yeah, all right, I could have stopped my career right when it started and moved back home.
But that's not what it's supposed to be. That's not, it's,
I know,
that's
we're
not
supposed
right.
exactly.
But you know what I think is also so great about your film specifically is that like we can do documentaries that are generalizing these things and saying like, oh, see, it happens like this, it happens like that. One thing that's really cool about your story is that it's very specific to you and your family so that we can see these things play out in a real, because I think a lot of people, one of the reasons why they don't care, they don't make changes is that they're sort of like, oh, poor, there's all these concepts about it, like, oh, well, the poor, they don't work very hard, or oh, they don't, if you're sick you should just go to the doctor. Like they don't get it. So to see it play out so clearly, that is like I mean, it's a terrible gift, but it was like a gift that you guys had so that you can then, I think making a movie about it was just such a good idea.
Yeah, I didn't know what else to do.
I was shocked that you did hidden camera inside the bank. Not to give away too many secrets about this. Right. But it's that part, it almost like the guy that you're speaking to at the bank is like, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
We took advantage of your mother.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Have a good day.
Yeah.
Well, and sometimes the people that work at the front of the bank, they're getting paid $10 an hour. So it's like you don't even get to the people that really can, that make the big
That's the
choices.
thing. When I did that, I was like, I'm going to go in, I'm going to yell at these motherfuckers, I'm going to tear them apart, but they don't have any control over this shit.
No.
They're just cogs, and like they're the representative of the fucking monsters that aren't doing shit, sitting at the top of a big building somewhere.
And those people never have to face the real people. They never.
They're the ones, they get away with the craziest of shits too.
TD Bank in 2019 had to repay $70 million in overdraft fees, and that was an out-of-court settlement. So the actual lawsuit was a lot more than that, and that was the out-of-court settlement. And those were from the years that they were preying on my mother, the exact years.
So they know that they're doing it, yeah.
Yeah, they know. And you know what? If you're making a couple $1 billion a year, if you're making $5 billion a year, $70 million is, who gives a shit?
Right.
That's the cost of business. It's not even like, you're not a good person. That's the cost of doing that special task.
Right.
If no one gives a fuck about any of us until you have enough money where they can really steal some money from you.
Right.
That's when they start caring about you. And this, and like the same with the casinos. If you have $50 to your name and you spend that money, you see you later. But if you got $20,000 in your name, they'll milk you. They'll keep you there all day. They'll give you a hotel room. They'll give you tickets to a show. They'll give you the steak. And because they know that at the end of the day, they're going to get all that money out of your fucking bank account. And, and that's just what happens. And then it is just, I wanted to show from the movie that it's not just the government fucking us over. because I think I'm getting a lot of like, you wait till you tell them about insulin and the medical bit. That is a part of it. But the casinos, the check cashing stores, the way we prey on each other, the insurance companies, and just the way like my father preyed on my mother, on like at personal levels, it's just like, that's what is, I'm trying to like highlight, is that you can be part of the difference if you just help a little bit.
Yeah.
If you keep people from going to check cashing stores, then you're helping. If you're not going to Vegas on your vacation and you're going to the Grand Canyon instead, you're helping. I promise. It's like, these people don't deserve your money. It's not right. And money, the whole thing drives me crazy because this is going to make me sound like an idiot. Money's not real.
Oh no, we agree.
We agree. We just say, oh, these are the numbers that I have, and you have your numbers, and that's good that you got your numbers, and you did all this work, and here's some more numbers, and it's not real. Like, it's just like, and it kills people every day, and people kill each other for it, and it's like the worst thing that's ever happened to society. But what are you gonna do? You're gonna go back to fucking China 6,000 years ago and stop money? Like, it's not like, it's not possible. It doesn't make sense. What is it? Money is paper backed by gold, right?
But not even anymore, because we're not even on the gold standard anymore. So it's just money.
They're
just paper that means nothing.
It is paper.
Somebody decides how much it's worth, and then you can get murdered over it. You can get taken advantage of over it. I mean, it's insanity.
It's madness. Yeah. It's complete, and we all play by the rules, and we all love it. I love money. Every time I get a big check, I'm so happy. I go buy stupid shit like Miami Dolphins jerseys and fucking like, and it's just I don't know, and it's maddening. And I really I don't care if I get my money back from this movie. That's not why I made it. This movie is an investment in just the world becoming a better place. And that's all I want. And I want people to see it and realize how they is straight up ruining families. And also, I kind of wanted to let people know what happens when your parents die.
Yeah.
Because a lot of us, it's not talked about ever.
Yeah.
No one ever brings up what you got to do when you're an only child and your parents are divorced and your mom dies. That shit's a crazy thing to get thrown on your lap. And so I kind of wanted to take people through that a little bit. And it was my experience was kind of beautiful, to be honest. My friends really came in for me. My family really came in for me. And it was a very nice time in a weird way.
Yeah.
It was a fun funeral, if that's possible. But
that's nice though. That's what I want, a fun funeral,
Yeah. But no, it's just it makes me everyone knows too. No one will deny that this happens. And everyone, and there's a lot of people when it comes to overdraft fees and casinos and stuff like that. They're like, well, you should be more responsible, or you should manage your money better. And it's just I don't think you understand how little money we had to begin with.
Right.
You can't manage, nothing from nothing's nothing. It's you can't. I don't have it. I can't give it to you.
Right.
And then the bill just gets bigger and bigger and bigger.
And then the desperation sets in. I think that's part of the whole thing.
Yeah. And my mom wasn't able to stick to the plan. She wasn't able to just, sit there and wait for, 10 years to go by and the money to slowly pay off, because that's how long it would have taken. And so I will say this, when your parents die and they got less than no money, you don't have to pay their bills, no matter what those people try and tell you. You don't have to pay those bills. Don't fall for that shit. I still get calls to this day. People trying to Kathy Larson, you owe this money for her. People trying to trick me out of hundreds of dollars, and not everyone, I'm going to sound like a dickhead. Not everyone is as smart as me and doesn't fall for it. Lots of people fall for that shit because they're scared. They're like, we're going to put you in jail because of what your father did or what your mother did. These people say awful shit. And these phone calls are coming from across the world. I had someone from Egypt call me and I'm like, listen, here's the routine. I know I don't give you anything. My mom passed away. And then he was just like, she was a bitch. She was a fucking bitch.
God. You
fucking idiot. They torture you. When they can't get their money because it's just heartless, crazy shit. and it's a vicious circle, and no one seems to stop anyone.
Right.
Mhm.
And there's, so
Well, I
it's-
really like that. Something that our listeners definitely can take away from this is, first, go see this movie, but secondly, too, that I really like what you're saying about just like you can make a difference in all of these things by not putting money into these terrible places, by in educating people around you, especially older people that do get scammed by these phone scams too. And I mean that's a whole other conversation, but
oh yeah,
but like
Fucking a home shopping network
Yeah.
stole so much money from my grandmother.
Yeah.
My grandma had all these fake jewelry everywhere after she passed away. Just like fake jewelry everywhere, stupid little statues, and fucking they just because she's just sitting home watching it, calling, and the thing comes to the door a month later. It's broken dish plates,
and
it's
just
like,
junk.
what the
You
fucking,
can't do anything with it. Yeah.
it's just junk that they trick people into like thinking that they need, or like they need to give to their families. And it's just like love goes a lot further than stupid material things.
And I love that. That is such a good. That is what we need now more than ever. Is just people loving each other better and more, and better quality love.
That's what I really took away from the movie, Ed. I mean, obviously, you were educating us on so many things that are happening to a wide variety of people in our country, but more importantly, it just showed how much you loved your mom and how much you would do to fight for her. And it's just a beautiful movie, and I really do appreciate that you want to show it before the election, because I think it really could make a difference, and that is a really incredible thing.
I mean, Trump didn't give a fuck about his family.
No.
No.
His brother died of alcoholism, yet he has Trump vodka and gives free alcohol away at his casinos to people so they
To
can.
alcoholics.
Right.
Yeah.
He saw he saw in his brother the weakness that he's like, oh, I can fucking use that and prey on people. He's like, he didn't feel bad for his brother or try and help him. He just saw him as a drunk and a failure. And then he's like, oh, I can use that failure gene that was in my brother that a lot of other people have, and I can steal money from them. And that's like the core of his shit. That's where he got famous, was owning casinos. Right. And then they would in the casinos, all these casinos, if you go back and read about them, they all have like racist shit going on because he used to tailor to the Russian mob all the time. And then the Russian mob would show up, and then he would have his pit bosses kick all the black people out of the casino because the Russian mob didn't want to be around black people. And so like this is like it's all documented. Like and it's like he's a fucking piece of shit. My Uncle Joe, he stole my Uncle Joe was a roofer. He did some work for Donald Trump in New Jersey in the 80s, and Trump wouldn't pay him. And he's like, we'll see you in court, because he knows that the court costs and that's why he always used smaller workers. And he would claim he loves mom and pops. But the thing is, the reason he liked mom and pops is because they can't afford to go through a lawsuit with him, because he could drag shit out in court for months and years and shit. And by the time they get their money from Trump, they spent 3 times that amount in court fees. And so he just never paid any of his contracts.
Yeah, well, he's a crook. He's a full-blown crook. And in the news, we just found out that the NYPD unions are going to be supporting Trump in this election. So the police are supporting a criminal. And that's where we're at also. Just to tie it all and just to make sure everybody knows. It's all fucked. It's all fucked.
Oh, man. The police unions are crazy. The NYPD, I worked with them a lot. Because I shot a police special years ago. I ended up doing it with the Boston police instead of the New York police. But I worked with the New York police a lot, and there are some dudes in there that I really liked, and people really trying to do their job, and then a lot of people just keeping secrets. And one thing I learned about the police department: do you know that there are more people working for the NYPD than the entire Australian military? So like God. The NYPD is bigger, has more manpower than the entire armed forces in Australia.
That's insane.
That's a continent.
Yeah.
Like, so it's
Jesus
like it's not, it's like, you don't need that much. You don't need that much, and it's like, take a step back and realize what you're doing and what you're creating, and this is going to sound awful because it's not the right thing to say these days, but I'm pro cop. I don't want police to go anywhere. I think a world without police is chaos. Sure. And I think, I think it's just, but they need a major step back. There needs to be some major defunding. And I got in an argument with my buddy the other day, my oldest friend. And he's just like, I don't believe in defund the police. He's a teacher. And I'm just like, well, you get defunded all the time. The school gets defunded constantly. And what I'm saying is don't defund the school, defund the police next time.
Or maybe as we defund the police, give some money back to the school.
Exactly. That's all we're saying. It's just like there are more jails and prisons in this country than colleges and universities.
That's
that doesn't make any sense. There are more black men in jail than there were slaves. Right. There's like, these are just straight up facts. We're fucking this. I love America. I love it with all my heart. I support the police department. I support the poor. I support everybody. I truly do. I really do. But the whole thing needs a big fucking overhaul. Yeah. We're sitting here, we're working off a 250-year-old document written by people who own people, right. And so it's just like, yeah, we could, like, the internet existed 30 years ago. We could use a sprucing up. There hasn't been an amendment in 33 years. What?
That's nuts.
Like, there hasn't been an amendment to the Bill of Rights in 33 years. Like, so much has happened. Right. So much. People are flying to space on their own. Like, we need to fucking update this document.
Yeah.
And like, it's just like,
well put.
It's. And I really, we are extremely lucky to live in this country. Yeah. We are, and this is coming from the person who made How America Killed My Mother. We are very lucky to live in America. Just watching what's going on in fucking Lebanon the past week, this shit, Russia's terrifying, China's terrifying. They have concentration camps. You're like, everything's fucked up, right. But we need to say, if we want to live in the best place, then we need to help make it the best place. And right now it is not.
And we can do that. We all can, make steps to make it better. So I think that that's also kind of our mission statement with the podcast too, is to try to get people to, take care of each other more and all that.
And how do you make the greatest change? Vote, motherfuckers. Vote Biden-Harris 2020.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just get out there and just do anything. And, anyone who hates Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, listen, I ain't a fan either. But, let's get him in there.
Yeah.
Let's get him in there.
It'll be a little better.
Let's get him in there. We could fuck with them when they're in there too.
Totally.
We can hold them accountable.
Totally.
Like, let's just get them in there, one goal at a time. Stop thinking 10 moves ahead. We just there is a demon in the White House that needs to be put back in hell. And need to fucking just go. And I don't care who replaces them. That's our choices are Biden and Harris. I did not want either one of them. I'm going to vote for the fucking shit out of them. Right. And it's just like, I didn't want Hillary Clinton. I voted for her. Just go out there and fucking do it. I mean, it's the only way you're going to get a step closer to where you want to be. Not voting does less than nothing. Mm-hmm. It's a hindrance. And so they are a step closer to where the world needs to be. I don't agree with all their policies. I think they both have real shitty things they've done in their history. And it drives me crazy that those are our options, but that's the way it is. And the only way you're going to change it is by getting them in there and helping and making them change it, because they will actually kind of listen.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, Biden, he's become a better person through all of this ridicule. He knows what he's done in the past is wrong. He knows all that Anita Hill shit is wrong, and he tried to write it. And that's the other thing that drives me crazy. If I could do one more soapbox thing, can we?
I love it.
Can we let people become better people?
Yeah.
Can we?
I know.
Can we just not it's all right? Yes, you committed that crime. Can we let them become a better person and learn from their mistakes? It's just please, for fuck's sake. That makes no sense. Then everyone goes to jail forever for everything. That makes no sense. And so it's if you treat somebody with kindness, This is how I feel about the prison system, which is not a popular opinion. But if we treated our prisoners with kindness and taught them how to live better, they wouldn't get out and rob people because they were poor. Right. If we actually paid them for the work that we were making them do when they were in prison, and we paid them minimum wage and then made them pay rent on their cell, all of a sudden the whole fucking thing evens out. But we won't do that because there's too much money to be made by like 10 dudes who fucking own everything. Right. And it's just like those dudes need to fucking be abolished. I understand that people love capitalism and they love America for that reason, but it's oligarchs.
Yeah.
Right. These people are the Trumps are slowly becoming king of America. Mm-hmm. He's got his whole family lined up to fucking hopefully succeed him for all of time. Mm-hmm. That is the plan. They will not be the kings of America. And, so it's just get out there and fucking do something about it before it's fucking Nazi Germany. I'm sorry. I'm a Jew. It shit's on the right. The wall. It's written on the walls. It's like this is what happens. It's like, oh, I stood back. I said nothing. Like, oh, that's fucked up. I don't like that. And the next thing you know, you're in over your head, and you're getting and half your family's getting thrown on one side of the country, and the other half's getting thrown on the other side of the country. Trust me. We are all human beings, and we can all band together. And it's just people in big cities know this. We've known this our whole lives, because we worked with every race and we know every culture and shit like that. I lived in Astoria, the most culturally diverse neighborhood in America and the world. And so it's just it was awesome. It was amazing. All kinds of different people. You learn so much. Just every restaurant you go in, you learn something new every day. You don't need a fucking cheeseburger every day. It's just it's just there's so much you could do to realize that this country is such potential. Yes. Is such great potential to be awesome. And right now we suck. And I don't think anyone could say that things are great. Oh my God, the Keep America Great slogan makes me vomit. It makes me let's keep it this way, you fucking idiot. What do you
I love this. Everything about what's happening right now. I'm so excited.
But I have, obviously I have a lot of opinions, but and I feel very comfortable talking to you ladies. So.
Well, tell our listeners where they can hear you rant some more, because you have a couple podcasts going for you these days.
Yes, I do. I got my podcast. The one I like promoting the most is The Brighter Side, which is on the Last Podcast Network. I do it with Amber Nelson, and it's just a positivity podcast. And we try to take all the shitty things in the world and flip it on their side and show you what the good is in them. And a lot of times we don't find any good, but we talk about it and we try. But you got to look for it. There's always going to be some sort of silver lining, and you might sound like a prick finding it, but there's always going to be something that you could take away to make the world a better place from anything that happens wrong.
Can you give us a quick silver lining to the global pandemic?
I mean, yeah. I mean, obviously, all
right, what's the brighter side?
Well, we're going to win this election, and it's proved that this fucking schmuck has no idea what the hell he's doing. And and I will say that the global pandemic. I mean, I take vitamins now.
Perfect. Yeah, there you go. That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Look at you. It only took a pandemic for you to take some vitamin C.
People are learning how to cook.
Yeah, you're very good. Well, thank you so much.
Catch up on all your 90s movies.
All right. That's right.
Thank you so much for being on our podcast. We love you so much. And everyone go see How America Killed My Mother.
It's an honor to be on Difficult Women. I was wondering how long it was going to take.
Years.
Be on the show.
You had to grow your hair.
Well, we don't have many men.
I know you don't. I know. I was worried. I was like, I really want to be on the show, but it's Difficult Women. I'm not going to say anything.
We have to have you back I want to have you back because you have so many aligned thoughts, I think, as we do, and you've done a lot of research on a lot of different things. So we'll have to.
Well, anytime you want to talk about the prison system, you hit me.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Oh, yes.
We'll have to do a prison system episode.
Yeah, that's my specialty. Yeah. All right.
Oh, well, we love you so much, Ed. Thanks for sharing your time in the closet.
Yes. And just call me anytime to talk because I miss you so much.
Oh, we miss you too.
All right.
We really do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But thanks for sharing the story. And of course, we'll be spreading, your socials so everyone can follow him. But then we're going to be looking for that for your movie in October. for sure.
Oh, also, real quick, let me plug this. I started a new Twitter account. It's called @HowAmericaKills, because once I put out the trailer for this, it kind of blew up. It was weird. I didn't expect it to be as popular as it was. And I just got hundreds and hundreds of personal stories of the same shit happening to people. And so I'm using this account to kind of help share those stories. And so if you have a story that's like mine, or a different way that America or Americans have fucked over someone, you or someone in your family, I'd love to help spread the word. It's @HowAmericaKills. I'm doing everything I can to like just get the word out on everything.
That's incredible.
Awesome.
And that's going to be really useful resource, I think, for people. And
Yeah,
we'll get
and I'm trying to. It's just started, so I don't have as many followers as I would like. But we're I'm just gonna keep plugging away. So please help me make that a place where I can help you share your story.
Well, great. We'll put a link in the description of our podcast so you all can follow along after you turn this off.
Hell yeah! All right, I'll talk to you ladies soon.
All right. Love you, Eddie.
Bye.
The other night at Cosmic Cantina, I was approached by a man. I tried to hang low, just eating my burrito. He worked on his pickup plan. He was all shit-faced, he got into my space, so drunk he barely could stand. He said, "Cutie, what's new?" And he puked on my shoe. Some behavior I don't understand. Singing hi-ya-yo, there are douchebags wherever you go. Singing hi-ya-yo, why won't they just let me be?
Oh, hey, that sounds awful.
Yeah, it was.
You know, it's funny. I had a similar situation happen to me last week.
Well, that's very interesting. Why don't you tell us about it?
Well, I'd love to. The other night I went to a disco with some of my close girlfriends. Then before you know, we're surrounded by Guidos. They start to make their descent. I tried to break free when one clung on to me. There was no way to defend. He said, "Hey, what's your son?" Then he slapped my behind. Some guys sure know how to offend. Singing hi-ya-yo, there are douchebags wherever you go. Singing hi-ya-yo, why won't they just let me be? Now don't get me wrong, folks, I like a good spanking. I just want to know where it's coming from first.
Well, that's reasonable. But I gotta tell you something, Marie. You know the worst kind of douchebags? The worst ones are the ones that you know them and you trust them and they seem like real nice guys at first, and then they get all fucking douchey on you. Surprise douche. Nobody likes a surprise douche.
Wow, Katie, sounds like maybe you got more of a song to sing.
Well, it's funny you mention it, because I do. And actually, it's about someone very specific.
Oh, well, don't name any names.
Oh, no, I won't name any names. That would be very tacky.
So
of me.
tacky.
Yeah. Well, just say his name rhymes with pony.
Uh-oh.
I met a boy, said I was his joy. He courted me like a true gentleman. He opened doors for me, he spoilt me, adored me. We spent lots of time holding hands. I started to like him, it got real exciting. He had my heart there and then. Then he got me in the sack and said, "I'm sorry, you can't come back, 'cause my girlfriend, she comes home around 10. Singing hi-ya-yo, there are douchebags wherever you go. Singing hi-ya-yo, why won't they just let me be?
Look at me.
What?
Didn't I just tell you not to name any names?
Well, I thought I was being real sneaky about him.
No.
Oh, okay. Well, I got an idea. I'm gonna fix it right now.
Well, this ought to be good.
Listen up close to the more of my story. Only one of these tales is true. I'll let you decide which ones are lies. I'll just leave that up to you. But here's my advice. Boys, treat us nice. Get yourselves on the right track. 'Cause if you do me wrong, I'll put you in this song. It's my way of getting you back. Right, Tony? Singing hi-ya-yo, there are douchebags wherever you go.
douchebag.
Yeah, sometimes.